Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The Utes get set for another huge Big 12 game as they square off against Cincinnati. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, and we appreciate you being a part of the program. You can download the podcast wherever podcasts are found, wherever you listen to your daily podcasts. Add us to the old rotation there, and you won't miss a second of the local and big spins, of course, on all the local teams here when it comes to every team that you love here, including the Utah Utes, the BYU Cougars, the Jazz, Mammoth. The Mammoth? Am I saying that right?
No, you're not. You need to work on that.
The Mammoth.
There you go.
All right. So let's kick off the show as we always do. We've got to get to the cut here. We'll jump in because Steve Bartle, our Utes insider for KSLSports.com, is going to join us. Let's go ahead and hit the old cut here, and let's get it going officially.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Doug Smith brings you this portion of the program. Doug Smith, of course, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Kia, Subaru, and now Mitsubishi in Linden, American Fork, and in Spanish Fork. Nobody knows cars like Doug. I want to bring up a little bit of before we get to Steve and talking about this matchup against Cincinnati this week, and and this is something that I'm pretty interested in, is trying to figure out if there is a quarterback controversy, or was it just kind of the shiny new thing because he was able to get it done on Saturday night, and now there's no reason to go back and forth about who your starter is going to be. If Devin Dampier is healthy, is he the starter no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Why,
Kyle
though?
Whittingham has made that clear.
Okay.
Why? Because he is. I don't know. Maybe we'll ask Steve Bartle that question.
I just wonder if paying him is part of that, or if
I don't think coaches, even when that's the case in 2025, more important than getting ROI on players that are being paid, coaches need to win. Coaches have to win, and so if they're paying a player, they'll sit him if it's going to mean you have a better chance to win. I don't think that's the case here.
I love the idea of coaches too being like this. Hey, you're like, yeah, coach. You sit down and you're like, hey, we really want you to come play at Utah. What kind of an ROI are we going to get with you, though?
Hey, that's a fair question.
I know nowadays it really is.
That's 100%
you got to ask that question.
You understand that by paying you this money, when much is given, much is required.
Yeah, I get it.
There's pressure with that.
I just think it's funny
you
that
better deliver.
Nowadays the question gets asked. It's like, hey, some guy goes, yeah, I'm looking for six figures, and you go, great, but what's your return on investment going to be? Joining us on the program right now, these are actual questions that we have to figure out nowadays. The real question for Steve Bartle, our Ute insider for KSLSports.com, is, Steve, is there a quarterback controversy on the Hill, or is it just you got some really, really great talented quarterbacks, and it's nice to have Byrd Ficklin, but if Devin Dampier is healthy, he's the guy?
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a controversy. I think Byrd Ficklin made a very good impression on all of us watching him. He was really impressive, and as a true freshman coming in and being able to pick up an offense and go out in a situation like he was, where he had to fill in for Dampier, is Utah's reeling a little bit from the previous week's loss, and it was an important game for Utah to stay in the Big 12 race. For him to step into that role and into that situation and perform the way that he did was really, really impressive. But this is clearly Devin Dampier's team. It's from a production standpoint, a leadership standpoint, all of those things. This is still Dampier's team, and that. But you can certainly feel much better about Utah's quarterback situation and the future of it with the way that Byrd performed on Saturday.
As long as they're able to keep everybody in the quarterback room on the roster next year. As we know in today's college football, that's not a sure thing. But very exciting, and Byrd Ficklin was great and showed a lot of promise. What was really promising was the way that Utah responded, Steve, after a disappointing loss, obviously, to BYU. But one of the reasons why I thought it was disappointing was their execution wasn't sharp and the intensity wasn't there in some of the ways. And really that was the difference in that game, I felt, was Utah's lack of execution in key moments. They were unbelievable in their execution against Colorado. What was the difference in 1 week in their execution?
Yeah, I think it really came down to the aggressive game plan that Morgan Scalley installed on the defensive side of the ball, but then too, with the offensive line and the run game, I think they probably felt like they needed to come out and really have a performance like that. And you can go back to last year and look at that Colorado game, against Utah in Boulder, and Colorado certainly, ran up the score, not in like a disrespectful way, but, made that a pretty big blowout. And, Utah probably had a little motivation to get Colorado back, and just kind of given what they evaluated on film, put together a couple of really, really strong game plans and, went out and executed. So, that group certainly, both groups, offense, defense, even special teams too, with the plays that they made, with Jackson Benny getting the block punt, with the fake punt from Orion Phillips and Dallin Bentley. There was certainly a lot of things that Utah identified on film, and when you have those opportunities, it can be exciting for players to go out and execute in those situations. And I think it was pretty clear that this was a team that wanted to provide a strong response, given the loss the previous week again, and I think to do that in front of the Rice Eccles crowd, homecoming game, there were a lot of alumni in attendance. I think there was a lot of reason for the improved energy and aggression on all in all phases.
No offense to Cincinnati or Cincinnati fans, but the Bearcats weren't exactly a team when the year started that I think people looked at and went, that is going to be a key game in the Big 12 race. And yet here we are. Wouldn't have it any other way that you're in Week 10 and a team like Cincinnati. Look, this is what the Big 12 does, apparently. Just delivers random teams that start to get good and they get hot. And this year it's Cincinnati. It's one of those teams. Houston's also one of those teams, weirdly enough. But what does Kyle Whittingham see with this Bearcats team coming into Salt Lake? It's obviously not a trip that they make very often. They're going to, it's one of these conference mates that you don't know a lot about, and yet they're a really, really good team, and they haven't lost in conference yet so far.
Yeah, this is the first matchup between the two programs, in history. So this is an opportunity to, compete against a totally new opponent. And according to what Whittingham had to share on Monday, obviously the first thing that stands out is that Bearcat offense with Brendan Sorsby and the way that he's performing. I think he has a 20-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's thrown for over 1,800 yards. He's ran for over 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. And this was stuff that I thought watching film and watching tape on him from last year. He was a guy that really had to be Superman for his Bearcat squad to have any sort of chance, at a win. And he just didn't have many options around him, many, reliable skill players, didn't have a good offensive line, but, the Bearcats added a key offensive tackle, through the transfer portal. They added a couple receivers, and suddenly this Bearcat offense is, one of the best in the Big 12. And it's, again, due in large part to the way that Sorsby is performing. And, they've found balance with the run game. But it sounds like I think their top running back, Pryor, is going to miss this game. But they still have a couple options in that running back room. And I was talking with the Cincinnati insider earlier today who shared this team is really, really healthy. They've avoided the injury bug, and they've been able to maintain their health all season, and that's been key to them, performing at a high level each and every week, where they've been able to build on things as they've had guys, available and healthy and able to continue to build on things. So, Cincinnati coming in, this is going to be a really good offense. It's balanced. It's going to stretch. It's going to test Utah in both phases of the game. The defense isn't necessarily a strong calling card of the Bearcats this season. They're a program that gives up a lot of yardage. It's a bend but don't break type of defense. So that's going to be important to keep in mind that Utah may be able to move the ball against them pretty easily between the 20s, but this Bearcat defense really tightens up in that red zone. So that's going to be the key, is red zone offense for Utah going into this game against this Bearcat defense.
How much does that hurt Cincinnati to have their starting running back out, or is it more just all about Sorsby?
No, it's impactful. I don't think it's a huge deal. They've got running backs that can fill in, and maybe not to the same playmaking ability of Pryor, because he is kind of the lightning to the thunder of the other running backs in that room. He's the big play type of guy, comparable to like Wayshawn, right? Wayshawn Parker for Utah. He's that sort of running back. So it is, Cincinnati would obviously rather have him than not, but they've got depth in that room that they feel good about.
Steve, one of the things that Coach Witt has had this year is, like, I think that it's felt, fans are following this team. It's felt just like this kind of Jekyll and Hyde situation. Yet at the same time, the two losses that they have are to two of the highest ranked teams in the Big 12. JJ and I were talking about a path for this team to still be able to make something happen to get to the conference championship game. One of those things is they have to beat Cincinnati. They have to rely a little bit on Texas Tech falling off some too, which with the injuries that they've seen, that might be the case as well. Is there still that talk of, hey, not just the one game at a time type of deal, but a lot of their goals are still right in front of them?
Yeah, I think the talk from the program and, running into players or coaches after the game Saturday night, the message was consistent. It's Cincinnati. And, it didn't matter what you asked them, the response was Cincinnati. And so that's where the team's mindset is they know that this one is really, really important. Nothing else matters if you don't get this game this weekend. So that's the mindset that the team has embraced. And I think that's the right mindset to have, obviously, is you got to get this one, you get into the bye week, and then you set up for the final three games, going on the road to Baylor, returning home for a matchup against Kansas State, which suddenly seems to be, playing better football, and then Kansas to finish it up. That's going to be a tough one too, because that's an early Black Friday type of game. So, this is the important one. You get this one, and then you can start having more of those conversations about tiebreaker scenarios and that. But Utah absolutely has to get this one first and foremost, and then from there, it's all about getting right for the final three games.
Looking at Utah's rushing game, last year they had 7 touchdowns total the entire season. Right now they have 24. They knew they had to fix it, and by all accounts so far, it looks like they have. Is this what they envisioned this year when they brought in Coach Beck? And it's not just one guy. You got 5 players that are over 200 yards rushing this season.
Yeah, this is exactly what the vision was a potent rushing attack, and I think it's an offense that really fit the personnel of this team quite well. When you talk about the strength of the offense, in particular being the offensive line and having guys up front that can move people and other guys that can get out in space, that's given Coach Beck a lot of options in the run game itself. So, where we've watched this offense, the last couple of years bogged down, when things get difficult and, rely so heavily on that inside zone, Beck's brought some variety, some creativity, and when you have a quarterback like Devin Dampier or Byrd Ficklin and the athleticism that they have, the decision-making that we've seen from them in that option attack has been really, really impressive. And Ficklin, against Colorado was really, really impressive in that regard. Just the decisions he made. I know they had a botched mesh point at early on in that game, but from that point on, I thought Ficklin made great decisions of when to pull it, and that's what you get. And when you have that QB run game with athletes as dynamic as Dampier and Ficklin are, it makes you it gives your run game a significant boost. And talking about Cincinnati, that's kind of the same story is Sorsby's. He's not the dynamic make you miss type of athlete that Dampier or Ficklin are, but he's a guy that can still use his legs. He's runs like a Josh Allen type. I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but just that type of quarterback, a big body athlete that can move, and that's what's helped Cincinnati find balance as well. So that's been the key is Beck and that quarterback room with the athleticism they have there, and they feel really, really good about the run game as they get into the final month of the season. Because they've been able to distribute a lot of the carries and the workload, guys are healthy. And that was an issue for Utah last year, was Mekhi Bernard, and he was worn down by the end of the season. But you're getting into November where you have Wayshawn Parker, who's I think currently 8th in the conference in total rushing yards at 503 yards, and he's only had 70 carries. When you look at the guys ahead of him, they're all 115, 120, 130 type of carries, and the workload is just you're starting to see some guys take some injuries and that. So, Wayshawn had a great game against Colorado, and he's going to be key to Utah in this final home, next month of the season.
The offense had an awesome breakout game, of course, last week. But what has the defense done over the past couple of weeks to kind of make people? I mean, look, if you look at it from a total defense perspective, they're one of the best in the conference and one of the best in the country still. But there was also this part that was like they needed that type of – it wasn't just the offense that needed a get-back game to figure this thing out. The defense seemed like they really found who they were again as well.
Yeah, I think, again, Morgan Scalley just identified some things on tape with Colorado and put together a really aggressive game plan. And I think Coach Whittingham put it, pretty perfectly in his presser, was that it just seemed to have a snowball effect where each time they blitzed, it was more and more effective, and it made things more and more difficult for Salter. He got, his processing time, he was hurried and his clock shortened, and he started making bad decisions. And so Utah had a lot of success. I think they blitzed over 70% of dropbacks against Caden Salter, got pressure on him 70% of the time. And I think that was the sort of game plan that, like I said earlier, when you are aggressive like that, when you can play on your toes and you can play downhill as emphatically as they did against Colorado, that's an exciting thing to, prep for all week long, right? And I think that was a big thing for Utah to, move forward, move past the loss last year, to not let the emotions linger. There were mistakes made on the defensive side of the ball, and I think having this sort of game, like you said, Alex, this was a get-right game for the defense, and I think it should lead to, better play down the stretch as well.
And you just look forward to the schedule. I mean, looking at what Utah has left to do, how favorable do you think the schedule is for them to reach that goal that we talked about earlier? Because we're looking ahead. Yeah. They can't look ahead, but we can. So why not? What is that path that you see? I know you do a lot of work. You're looking at things based on what we've seen. We talked about the Texas Tech injury situation earlier. What is the path for Utah to get where they want to go?
Yeah, I mean, for Utah, it just went out, right? And when you look ahead at the schedule, obviously you got Cincinnati this week. Cincinnati's going to be the toughest test of the remaining 4 games on the schedule. But, Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas, these are 3 teams that, if you had to put a book on them right now, it would be run the ball, don't turn it over, and just play good defense. And, that sounds like a formula that bodes well for Utah, right? When you go back and you look at some of the games against Kansas State and some of the performances against Baylor, go back to last week. I mean, Cincinnati and Baylor, Cincinnati took control of that game because of their balanced attack, running the ball and throwing the ball down the field, taking advantage of opportunities. So you like the way that Utah matches up with those three programs. And again, as long as they take care of business against Cincinnati, you can then start to look ahead at those three games. Again, like I said, I think Utah matches up well with all three. And, as long as Utah wins out, that's going to have them in the tiebreaker scenario conversation. And there's a lot of different things that can lead to Utah going to Arlington for the Big 12 title race. Obviously, they're going to need help, elsewhere. But you get into some of those tiebreaker situations, and a lot of them actually break Utah's way currently. But again, it's all going to be about Utah taking care of business and getting the win against Cincinnati.
Steve Bartle, he's our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. You can find his byline there and see the full read-up. You can also go check out those. One of the newest ones today is, of course, the blackout unis looking sharp for a this Saturday game, and I can't believe we're already to November here, Steve. But thanks for all the insights, man. We'll talk to you this weekend, and thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good show, fellas.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve Bartle, everybody. I think everybody you think about where I want to remind people where their feelings were at this point last year for Utah.
Oh, my gosh.
This is when they lost a game last year, it was a slide. And this one, you lose to Texas Tech, you get right, and you figure some things out. You lose to BYU, you figure it out again. And those are the types of things that carry you into moments that, you can bank and have an experience later on in the season that'll make you really, really tough to beat. I mean, honestly, if you were to match up a healthy BYU and a healthy Utah in Arlington, I have no idea what I mean, I'm sure both fan bases would go, "Oh, dude, we'd kill those dudes."
The truth is, flip a coin again.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's phenomenal.
Let me say this about Utah, where they're at right now. 6-2, they're already bowl eligible, so that's a big improvement. At this time last year, through 8 games, they were coming off a 17-14 loss at Houston. Remember how awful that felt? Remember how that was 4 straight losses, and then they weren't done.
Yeah.
They, of course, had the disappointment of the BYU game, getting blown out at Colorado, and then losing a heartbreaker at home to Iowa State. That was the middle of that patch where you're like, what is going on here? Think of the different feeling you have right now if you're a Utah fan. Yeah. The Texas Tech game, that broke your heart. Losing to BYU was miserable. But consider the improvement. Consider the difference in this team. There's growth and there's improvement from last year to this year that has to have you excited about what's coming next. And I'm not just talking about the next 4 games. I'm talking about next year. There's a lot of these guys on this team, outside of a couple that are probably going to the NFL, are coming back.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be excited about with this team. We just talked about the run game. All the guys that are doing that are coming back. You just got to figure out some things off with the offensive line. But the running backs and quarterbacks, and they're back. So there's a lot of promise there.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. When we return, we've got ourselves a little conversation to have about the coaching carousel in college football. Isn't it nice that your team doesn't have to have this discussion that so many others are going to be having? And not just in the offseason, but just right now, middle of the season. So stay right here. I've also got some more Jazz tickets to give away for you on a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Stay here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a much-needed off week for the Cougars as they rest up for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Okay, it's that time of the day for us to be able to give some stuff away to you. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. That means caller number 12 right now gets a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow night at Delta Center. All you have to do is just be caller number 12. You don't have to have any right answers. You don't have to guess what weird play that DJ and PK picked for this week. Boy, can we tell people what it was? Yeah, it was a day after now.
Yeah.
Of all the things that happened over the weekend, they chose Cooper Flagg's dunk on Monday. I was just wondering. we were all kind of looking at each other like, that's the one they did, huh? Okay.
They kind of mailed that one in.
Are they trying to, is it like a little bit of a feel bad for yourself?
Are they trolling Jazz fans?
Well,
Is that what
I'm
they're
saying.
doing?
Like, remember how cool it was? You could have had this guy.
Yeah. Remember how they
What are
lost?
the- what are the
remember how
Mavericks-
you lost the lottery?
He had 2 points. What's the Mavericks record?
Not good.
If the playoffs were to start today,
Let's do it. If the playoffs were to start today, the Dallas Mavericks would not be in it.
No.
They are 1-3.
Nah,
they have the second worst record in the West. Only the Pelicans
second worst record
are
in the
worst
West.
at 0-3. The Mavericks and Phoenix Suns are both 1-3.
All right. Well,
So I guess that's
hate
not
to
working
say
out
I
so
told
well.
you so, Nico.
Another Nico failure.
I told you that guy was going to suck.
Shouldn't have drafted him.
All right.
Should have drafted Dylan Harper.
801-575-ZONE.
He's got the Spurs at 4-0.
All you have to do is call us. Call number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. Pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Trailblazers tomorrow night at Delta Center. All right. Let me see here. So here are the current coaching vacancies in college football. What interim is going to be lucky to land the job full-time out of these groups?
What interim?
What interim is going to be the guy? Because, out of these...
Who's going to get their interim tag removed?
Some guy... Oh, isn't that the dumbest?
A lengthy medical procedure.
Surgically removing the interim tag takes a while.
Coach is going to be out a couple weeks. He had his interim tag removed.
He's like... Oh, my gosh. Ask your doctor if Sky Rizzy for interim tag removal is right
Ask
for you.
your doctor if interim tag removal is right for you.
So the coaching
May
carousel...
cause nausea and headaches.
I won't say the other side effects that make me absolutely disgusted when I'm watching my own sporting events that I wish I could just get through without having to hear those things. Boy,
You don't want to see some woman dancing because she's taking Jardiance?
Jardiance. Pharmaceutical companies have really taken over those spaces.
Hey, I lowered my A1C. Let's do a musical.
Get out of here. Oh, my
I feel
goodness.
like dancing.
Hi, I'm former world tennis number 1, Serena Williams. Watch me inject medicine on television. LSU, Florida, Penn State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, UCLA, Stanford. All of these different programs, which one is the one you wouldn't touch with a 39.5-foot pole?
UCLA.
Really? Of all those coaching jobs, that's the one you
can't
want to
win there.
Okay.
When's the last time they won there? Chip Kelly couldn't win there.
I think in a similar vein, Stanford might be on that list of
You can win at
Level-
Stanford.
in 2025, in 2026.
I think you can.
I don't know.
You
if
got to be the
can.
right guy. You got to. What? Too bad they're in the ACC.
I was going to say, are they going to shift over?
They should. Honestly, they should.
I was going to say that actually. If you were like, I know if you were breaking some news that like Stanford
and Cal should go back to
Stanford
the
and Cal
new
were going to
Pac-12.
re-accept invitations. Hey, we're sorry about all that. Blah, blah, blah. And look, but I'm telling you, in the ACC, whatever world this is that they're in, I think it's super hard to win at Stanford because their school isn't committed to.
Neither's UCLA.
I know, but I think that they could be. UCLA would be more open to let's pay some ungodly amounts of money to people so that they can get here and win. Okay,
They've already tried that. It's not working.
Stanford won't. I don't think Stanford will ever.
Stanford
get
hasn't tried yet. That's my point.
Yeah.
Is if you could get them, if you could convince people in that camp with Andrew Luck's support.
I was going to say one of the smartest
to get
dudes
back in to use your resources, to use your alumni. You don't have to touch their fund that they won't let them touch. But my goodness, you can't get alumni donors. You can't do at Stanford what BYU has done. Baloney. You just got to go make the connections. You just got to hire the right guy that can go do it. Stanford is a sleeping giant.
There's a bunch of bull junk. Is that job open?
It's not an easy job. I'm not saying it's an easy job. But look, nobody thought that Stanford could win when Jim Harbaugh took the job. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yeah.
Pre-Jim Harbaugh, Stanford was 2 wins a year. Remember Ty Willingham? And they were bad.
Gosh, Ty Willingham just leaving programs in his wake. Notre Dame, Stanford, Washington went 0-12. Terrible years. What I was going to say, JJ, was this. Those are some difficult places to win. The one that I don't want to have the pressure ever at, because now you've ripped the Band-Aid off of absolutely unreasonable expectations at places like LSU. Penn State is going to have those. You get rid of one of the coaches that got you out of one of your darkest moments or helped get you through some of the darkest moments of your program, and he took you to a college football semifinal last year, which, by the way, Penn State is not – like, they don't get to the college football playoff semifinals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And James Franklin got him there. And he's actually kind of a decent dude. Like, that's not a thing anymore. No one cares, right? Florida, they would absolutely cheat their way to the top, which means they'll also leave you in their wake if you're their head coach. LSU has now entered the realm of we don't know what we're doing. We're just throwing money at it, which is where some programs are right now. Arkansas feels like a place you can't win. Oklahoma State has promise. Because
oh, yeah, I think that's a great job,
Oklahoma
actually.
State has promise.
They've done it.
They've done it before. They have resources. They have great facilities, actually.
They just need new energy. They need new fuel, new blood. Mike Gundy got tired, and he didn't adapt. They need a young, hungry coach, kind of like what they got going on at Oregon, that can go in there and get that going because the money is there.
The money is there. And I also think that that the expectations there are reasonable and are open for being able to have success still. Because unreasonable is LSU pretending like we have won more national championships than we actually have.
Same with Florida, 100%.
Same thing with Florida.
Expectations are way too high.
The reality is this. Florida had, the 08-09 seasons, or 07-08. Prior to that, JJ, honestly, ask yourself, how much of a superpower has Florida ever really been?
The Steve Spurrier years were good, but when I was growing up, Florida was not that big of a deal.
That's what I'm saying. No, they were good back then, but they weren't winning national championships.
Not even close.
Except for when Tebow
They won in '96 with Spurrier, correct? With Danny Werfel. 2006 and 08 with
Tim Tebow
and Urban Meyer. That's it. You're right. Outside of that,
but see, these are programs. These are programs that pretend that they're bigger than they actually are, and that's part of the problem. And then they have this weird slush fund that they can play with. It's so stupid. So the best jobs on this list are probably Oklahoma State. I don't know what to do with Virginia Tech.
It feels like the Beamer years were kind of, I don't know what.
But again, they had one.
It's kind of like Colorado State with what's his name. That the great coach they had back in the 90s, 2000s. They got that thing going, and they were nationally ranked. It was like this great era of Colorado State football. And I've already forgot his name.
So
right?
good that we have no idea who he is.
I had a point to make it. If I could remember his name, it would have been a great point.
I'll tell you what, those were great years under old what's his name. That's what the alumni are saying at the meetings.
Dang, what an idiot. Sonny Lubick.
Oh, Lubick. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Listen,
Sonny Lubick was awesome in 15 years there.
Yeah.
Won a lot of games. But since then and before then, I know it's kind of apples and oranges, but that's how Virginia Tech feels.
Don't touch Penn State, Florida, or LSU. You're never going to get.
You won't meet you're right.
They're not going to get the return on investment ever. And you as a head coach, you're not going to be happy there.
Right? You know, I feel like you could do it at Arkansas if you're the right guy.
Arkansas is enough under the radar.
They're wanting to spend.
Yeah, but they have this.
They just don't know how to do it.
They also have this thing where they're like, we're in the SEC, and everyone's like, settle down.
Like Jerry Jones is a booster.
You were in the SWAC like 5 seconds ago.
You can do stuff at Arkansas. They just haven't had the right hire.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back. Did we give those tickets away? All right. Are we doing it again next hour? Great. So stay tuned. We've got more tickets to give away. Coming up, I've got a top 10 for you. We also have at the top of the hour, Cole Bagley, our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. He's going to give us a vibe as to what this next test on the road looks like tonight. Mammoth, Oilers, Face-off tonight at 7:30 to start things off. The puck drops then. 6:30 pregame. Don't miss any of it right here on your radio home of the Utah Mammoth, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. We'll be back. More to go.
Gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The Utes get set for another huge Big 12 game as they square off against Cincinnati. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program today. You can always download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. And, JJ, I was going to ask you this question here because when Kyle has to be like, oh, hey, there's no quarterback controversy of any kind, I feel like when you have to say it, sometimes there's a little bit more than maybe you thought.
Nah,
Or is that me being...
We in the media and you as fans... We've seen them both play, so we can all have fun with it and debate and compare and contrast. Ultimately, what we say doesn't matter because all that matters is the opinion of the coaches up on the hill. So that's their opinion. Devin Dampier's QB1, there is no controversy. So we're having fun with it, and it's tribute to Bird's play, but there's no controversy.
Okay.
Devin Dampier's QB1.
All right. JJ, I have in front of me... I was thinking about the across the world of watching television. You're our TV guy, and periodically I like to dip in and kind of see what the most watched sporting events are in any given year. And like right now, I had this. Geez, it just went away again. So thank you very much. Let me see here. The largest sporting events watched across 2025. You ready for this?
Up until now.
Up until now.
Okay.
So now these are the problem with this is that like I guess you tell me the difference between TV ratings and then like the viewership. So explain to people who are listening out there when they go, you got a rating and then you have
talking
like
about rating or you talking about share?
I'm talking about like a millions
Rating
of
is people that have watched.
Okay.
So if they say 5 million viewers, that means 5 million people watched the game. So that's what they're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is
Okay.
that and I was watching it and I was like, okay, let's see what we've got here. So I've got in front of me the top 10 of the most watched events in all of sports for this year in 2025. Ready? Oh, this guy's got his headset on like he's going to participate. Oh, he took it off? He's out now? Okay.
Oh, man.
You could have helped out. These aren't that tough. All right. On your mark. Get set. Go.
Final Four? National championship game in college basketball. The Super Bowl, obviously.
Ding.
Number one. The college football national championship game. College football semifinals. NFL regular season games. Cowboys, Eagles.
I need you to think a little bit more broadly. This is why Alex is going to help out.
College football. Well, I mean, how broadly?
Worldly.
Oh, soccer events.
Internet.
The World Cup.
Hey now.
Was the World Cup
World
this
Cup
year?
wasn't this year. Was it?
The Euros. Sorry.
Ding.
Oh, we got it. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
keep going. What more soccer stuff? Help me out. The Olympics. That wasn't in 2025 either.
Champions League final.
Ding.
All right. The Four Nations hockey.
Hold on.
It's got to be on there. Oh my gosh, it wasn't.
No.
NBA All-Star game.
Oh my heavens! Why would that be?
Major League
watched?
Baseball All-Star game. Home Run Derby. Any NFL games. Any college football games. Kentucky Derby.
Oh, ding.
Okay, good.
You know what's funny about that? The freaking Kentucky Derby. You ready for the
It
top
still
10?
pulls because people gamble on
I
it.
know. You ready for the top 10?
Yeah.
You're going to be very disappointed in everybody around the world.
Okay.
But here we are. I
forgot it was worldly.
I know. I've got in front of me. Yeah. Full on. So, number 10 was the Tour de France. Did I say that correctly?
People still watch that?
Yes, they do, apparently. I think part of it is that it's a 3-week event. So you kind of pull a lot of numbers.
The sport in the United States took a big credibility hit with Lance Armstrong. And
2.8 billion viewers.
That's amazing.
of the Tour de France
That is
over those
amazing.
3 weeks.
That's a tribute
I
to
know,
the sport.
That's what I'm telling you.
Don't get me wrong. It's very
Okay.
popular.
Kentucky Derby across the world, number 9.
Okay, I snuck that in.
At 2.9 billion people ended up watching it.
My goodness.
I know.
2.9 billion?
Yes. Because people horse racing is
2.9 billion people watched it?
I think a total.
That's insane.
I know. I don't know what to tell you.
That's like a fifth of the planet.
I think it's like if anybody dips in at any point.
Oh my gosh.
I guess, yeah.
Like babies in Cameroon watching? Give me a break. How do you get to 2.9 billion?
Hey, you know
with
what?
a B?
You know what? Now that you said that, they expect that, or the Africa Cup of Nations is actually
Okay.
one of the most watched. Yes. Mm-hmm. Don't give
Annapolis is shocked.
Don't think that you have the corner of the market over here, Mr. MLS. No MLS, by the way. Yeah, the UEFA League's Champion League, the UEFA Champion League's final was at Allianz Arena in Munich was the 6th most watched event. The Women's Rugby World Cup
Women's rugby.
was 7th.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Would never have guessed.
Super Bowl was 3rd.
Got a big lift. Women's rugby got a big lift from the Summer
Wimbledon's
Olympics.
huge.
I
Wimbledon is
didn't
a top
even hit it.
5.
Tennis
Yeah, I know.
one.
Wimbledon's a top 5
Okay.
every year. Let me see. Let me get. You know what was sneaky? Almost snuck into the top 10. It was like way before any of the other like football events. The World Snooker Championship.
Snooker? What's that?
Alex, bonus points if you know what snooker is. It is. It's like a really weird game of pool. That's not like a normal game of pool. Look up this. Like darts and snooker, it takes over. I'm telling you, people are weird. And when I say people, I mean non-Americans. Watch weird things.
Snooker is a cue sport played on a large baize-covered table with 6 pockets, similar to pool.
What is that color? What's baize?
Green?
Anyway, I just wanted to put us out there and see where we're at. All right.
Did you get all 10 up?
No, I
What's
did.
left?
Yeah, I said them all. Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh, we did. Okay.
Now, from here in the United States, though, the Super Bowl, 3 different NFL games. The NFL draft actually
that makes sense.
did
That
really
tracks.
well between the 24th and the 26th. The Final Four, the national championship games, both were a top 10 in the United States.
So I would have killed it if we were just doing the United States.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
I feel
MLB
dumb.
All-Star Game and the World Series both track very, very high. So there you go.
Okay.
All right. We will come back. We've got more around the corner. We've got ourselves Cole Bagley, who's going to get us ready for the Mammoth and the Edmonton Oilers facing off tonight at 7:30 is going to be when the puck drops. 6:30 is going to be your pregame right here on the EKSL Sports Zone. More to go. Stay with us. 97.5 the EKSL Sports Zone.